give a little background on Dupont, you can see they're a Swiss company is founded in 1937, and like many Swiss companies, especially in manufacturing, they are family-run businesses that over the years have become global, have become more less artisan and more industrial. Just giving you some quick statistics, you can see they have a lot of projects, a lot of KPIs, a lot of processes, managing a ton of documents, and they're doing a lot of quality controls. Here's the org chart. You can see the structure of it. There's Samuel. He's leading the ship. He has 6 direct reports, 6 divisions, and in those divisions, you can see the typical teams, the typical functions that support a mid-sized manufacturing toy company. What we're going to do today, we're going to just zoom in into one piece of the puzzle, one piece of the Dupont strategy. And, you know, once the board gets together, they come out and they say, well, we've been around for a long time, and now it's time to move from a crafts operation to industrial processing. Again, the theme of Industry 4.0 comes into place, and they're saying, okay, we have a lot of great traditions in this company, we have a lot of great know-how, but it's time to leverage that, leverage technology and identify what technology we need to make our company more global oriented. So that's the breakthrough goal. That's the long-term goal. From an annual goal, the first thing they say, well, we need to come up with a new line of toys. You know, the market's constantly changing, and this is a key factor to any toy company to remain competitive, is to continuously come up with new toys. And one of the key initiatives, strategic initiative, or in the OKR world, you would call this a BHG, a big hairy goal, is in this situation is we're going to invest in 3D prototype printing. So today's example is going to be pretty much centered on the fact that Dupont has decided to invest in 3D printing, and to do so, they need to understand exactly how this investment is going to impact the whole company. So just out still in the boardroom, we haven't even gone to the shop floor yet. We after doing a little bit of R&D, it's quite clear. Okay, these 3D printers, this is what we expect to get back. We expect to decrease our carbon footprint. We expect to increase community awareness as we start to make internships and become more visible in the university scene. We expect to increase customer satisfaction, increase employee, increase market share, and decrease the cost of production. These are all the typical benefits you expect to achieve if you're investing in 3D prototype technology. What we're going to do now, we're going to start talking about how we're going to measure everything we're doing. And the first thing I like to say, you know, when we have a new client and we start grabbing KPIs and we start putting them on a list, well, what you want to do, you want to start understanding is which perspective in the balanced scorecard these KPIs fall into. And as you know, there's 4 balanced scorecard perspectives. There's the financials perspective, which allows the shareholders to understand where we're going. There's the client perspective that allows the clients to understand where we're going. And then you have the internal process perspective. And this is what do we need to do to improve? And this all comes from process optimization and being process focused. And finally, what we've talked about up until now mostly is learning and growth perspective. How can we harness our ability to change and improve? And here we're talking about technology, innovation, and the leveraging of the skill sets that we have in-house. So this is the first starting point as you start architecting a portfolio of KPIs. Next thing you're going to do as you start to go to the next level, what are the key success factors of the KPIs? And this can change per company, it can change per methodology depending on who the leadership team is. These are the 7 key success factors or KPI categories that we chose for Dupont. So we're going to be looking at cost and profitability KPIs, training, productivity, quality, risk and safety, delivery, and I can tell last thing, health and morale. Starting on the left-hand side of the slide, we're talking about lead KPIs. These are the cause of your success, the things that you're doing that are going to make the needle go in the direction you want. In the lag KPIs, this is where we're measuring something that happened, looking at things that have happened in the past and then going forward with them. So Just a couple examples so you can understand the relationship between the two. Lead KPIs, cause of your success. Lag KPIs, effect of your actions. For example number one, the more marketing campaigns you launch on social media, the more you would expect your social media followers to increase. Number two, the more 5S safety audits you perform on the shop floor, the lag KPI, the number of work accidents you would expect on the shop floor should go down. Number three, the number of sales-related training classes that the sales team is taking, the more classes they take, the more you would expect your sales revenues to go up because you have a more skilled workforce. And finally, the last one, and I like this one because budget is also a lead KPI. And here we're saying the budget that we're going to dedicate to R&D activities, the more budget we put in, the more number of new products we expect to launch. So at this point in time, you can start to understand that when you're tracking lag KPIs, you should always be keeping in mind what are the lead KPIs, because if you don't like the result of your lag, the starting point is to figure out what lead KPIs might lead you in the right direction to tell you how to make your lag KPIs improve. So let's put that into the Dupont world. Here we are looking at the lag KPIs of the Dupont team. They're saying, okay, we're about to launch 3D printing. How can we measure our company to make sure that this 3D printer is actually efficient? So keeping in mind the balanced scorecard from a finance point of view, we expect that Samuel himself is going to be able to bring on board more crowdsourcing partnerships. You know, we're now a digital company. We've got 3D printing. There's going to be more investors interested in us. We expect the sales team to increase sales revenues because we're going to have more prototypes. We expect the finance team to reduce operational costs because now they're going to have a way to start digitizing a lot of the manual work and getting more efficiency out of the production line. From a customer point of view, we expect to increase the number of clients from the sales and marketing team. We expect to increase customer satisfaction from the customer service team. Internal process point of view, we expect to reduce the number of defects in manufacturing, blowing team, the assembly team. We expect to reduce the number of shop floor accidents in general in manufacturing because we're going to be more precise into what we're doing. And once again, less manual activity, more planning. And from an engineering point of view, we expect the number of prototypes to go up. And this is the number one reason why the Dupont team started talking about 3D printing in the first place. So from a learning and growth point of view, we expect to see employee satisfaction go up in 4 different divisions because they're now going to be working with digital technology. You're working in a company that's aiming at the future. You're not working in a dinosaur type company. So these are lag KPIs that Dupont is expecting to track due to just their investment in 3D printing. From a lead point of view, the cause of our success, and we're asking ourselves, what do we need to do to make those lag KPIs efficient? And then here we are talking about, from a finance point of view, we expect spending on R&D. If we don't spend on R&D and engineering, we're not going to have as much. We're not going to have as much flexibility to leverage those 3D printers and actually do some great things with them. Spending on L&D from a personnel point of view. Here we're talking about learning and development. We're talking about making sure that even though we have this great technology and we have this opportunity to harness know-how, it's also important that we take this know-how and transmit it across the company through training. From a customer point of view, we expect to be doing many more client meetings, number of demos. We expect the marketing team to be putting out more brochures, more material in the market. We expect the sales team to be doing more client visits. We expect the art and graphic design team to be able to come up with more ideas on brochures, videos, et cetera, et cetera. And finally, for marketing, again, from an outreach point of view, we expect the more emails, the more posting, the more calls made, the more we're going to see our client base go up. From an internal process point of view, we expect the marketing team, again, to be putting together, crafting more offers. There's going to be more opportunities to call people up and say, hey, let's have a conversation. We think we have something that you will like. Quality control, we're going to see more quality audits taking place across the company. Prototypes, we expect to see more prototypes being drafted by the engineering team and the art and graphic design team. Once again, number of brochures drafted is going to be coming out. increasing. From a learning and growth point of view, Samuel himself, you expect him to be investing in R&D on, excuse me, I have the screen covered by something. R&D on market research. So, am I still sharing, Jack?
Very much so. Very much so. Yes.
So I had a couple of Zoom things popping around the screen. I had to close. Okay. So learning and growth still, we're going to see more training in engineering. We're going to see more R&D activities in the R&D team itself, of course. We're going to see more training in blowing. We're going to see more training in assembly, more training in quality control, more training in sales, more training in art and graphic designs, and more R&D taking place in finance and accounting. And finally, we expect Samuel and his board of directors themselves to be more present, more visible in the community, signing new partnerships, signing new internships, all kinds of stuff that make the company more eco-friendly, make the company more visible. So I took the time just to go through all of these, just to show you that 3D printing at Dupont, it's just one strategic initiative in many. In fact, I think they have 11 big hairy initiatives for the year, and this is one of them. And as you can see, before the finance people, before the board of directors are ready to cut a check and allow these things to happen, these are the type of discussions they're going to want to have. This is the type of visibility you want to give your company. So keeping that in mind, now there's a lot of stuff that needs to be tracked. And of course, it's all going to be based on how well you can govern this type of activity. And so now we're going to talk about Presto Continuous Improvement, or Presto PDCA. This is our software application, and it's a governance application. And the way I like to introduce Presto to people for the first time is that it's an application that allows you to see your company from the top down and get the visibility into where senior management may need to zoom in and get their hands dirty. And then, of course, once things are under control, get out of the way of the process experts and let them do their jobs. And as Steve Jobs said here, that sometimes the best way to innovate a company is the way you organize it. And that's what Presto is all about. So here you can see Samuel looking down on his dashboard. He sees himself, he sees direct reports, sees the number of teams that are totally in his company, he sees the number of people, headcount, and then the number of processes. And this is one of the first areas of benefits you get from using Presto. Is just you finally have all your processes nice cataloged for you in the teams that they're in, and you get the possibility to start zooming into them. Even if you're not in a certain team or department, you get accessibility to them. You can see how the team leaders, the process owners have cataloged them, and then you can start doing a number of things such as KPI management or waste management, document management, audit management, project management, and so forth. So the dashboard we're going to be looking at today, KPI dashboard, you see Samuel, he's looking at his teams, and now he's going to see his balanced scorecard view. So we're looking at internal processes, and there's his key success factors. So we have an internal process perspective from the balanced scorecard point of view. And in this case, we're looking at risk and safety KPIs, quality KPIs, productivity, and delivery. And what you see on the dashboard when you start looking at this dashboard is the count of how many KPIs are in those categories by the RAG status, red, amber, green. So right now we're looking at 4 KPIs here in the purchasing team in the delivery category that they're yellow. Now, they might be yellow just because of their last result, but they might be yellow over the course of time. And we're going to zoom into that to see it a little bit better. Now, one thing I wanted to highlight to you, if you're interested in using this solution, a great way to train is we have online showrooms. So everything you're seeing in today's demo is actually online in one of our Dupont showrooms for KPI management. So you go in and the slideshow, even the slideshow you're about to see today is very similar to the one you'll get online. And the different exercises, and for each exercise there's one or more slides, and there's videos that show you exactly how to do these type of things. And this has been a huge benefit for us in training new clients, because what we do with each client, we build their own showroom, we make their own slides with their own pictures, and we let them choose whichever exercises they're interested in teaching their company. We record the videos, we record the clients themselves, and then we publish it online together with them. And then the process owners, the team leaders can train their teams using the showrooms and have very minimal dependency on us. So just keep that in the back of your mind. And if you're interested in seeing a showroom, you can see I put a link here. I'll send this to everybody later. So first things first, this Samuel, he wants to know what KPIs are we tracking at the highest level in this company? Which are the leads and which are the lags? So I'm going to log in now to Presto. I think it may take me a few seconds. Here we are on the dashboard. So there you can see Samuel. He's responsible for 64 people. He's responsible for 195 processes. We got his KPIs across the dashboard, grouped into balanced scorecards, perspectives. And on the right-hand side, we have a series of filters. And we're going to look at some of these filters case by case. Just so you know, if you look into Presto, you click on any picture, it takes you directly to your org chart. And if you're not familiar with your company, you can navigate around. Let's take a look at the manufacturing team. There's Mike DiMaio. He's responsible for 4 teams, 9 people. There's his 4 teams. And if you want to go jump to Mike's team, you can go straight there and you can see there's Mike. He's responsible for 9 people, 19 total processes. I'm not going to go too much into it today, but this process catalog, very easy. You open it up and you can go straight to each team and create processes very easily just by adding them, uploading processes, macro, micros, processes directly from CSV files or whatnot. And then you can start building checklists within those processes. As you can see here, we have a checklist that supports the daily assembling control checklist. And there's a bunch of other things you can do. Not going to go into it today, but if you're interested in this topic, reach out to us. We'll be happy to get someone to do a demo for you and discuss with you if it works. So let's go back up to Samuel's level and answer his question. He wants to know which KPIs in his company are the high-level KPIs, and he wants to know which are leads and lags. So I'm going to click on this button here, and I can see immediately that what we'll do here is I'm going to click this button here, and this shows you everything that you see on the screen whenever you click on that. So what we're looking at now, there's your balanced scorecard perspectives. Here's your KPI types. Here's your KPI subtypes. So from a customer perspective, risk and safety, we're tracking number of public incidents. From a quality perspective, internal process, we're tracking the number of quality reviews, number of defects. Productivity, learning and growth, we're tracking the number of ideas proposed, the number of hours worked. Cost and profitability, we're tracking crowdsourcing partners, shipment costs, sales revenues. So this is a great way just to see what's our KPI portfolio look like, and looking at this, the quality person might come into the picture, looking at this even in the boardroom and say, why don't we have any quality KPIs that are focused on financial things? And that's immediately is a great way to start pulling ideas out of people, getting them on the table and figuring out where the strategy could be missing something. So if I just want to see what, from a lead point of view, here you have your lead lag filters. So I'm clicking the lead KPIs, and now you can see that again, this time just for the lead KPIs. And lag KPIs, you can see dashboard flips around, and these are the lag KPIs. And of course, lag KPIs are more financial weighted as opposed to the lead KPIs. So let's take this one step further. Now, Samuel's saying, I'm interested in seeing the details of the 6-month averages of all the critical to success metrics. In other words, he wants to see the 6 months averages of the lead KPIs. So that this report that I selected here, that's the high-level core information report. Now let's take a look into the details. And now let's look at just the lead KPIs. And now you open this up and you can see we have productivity KPIs, numbers of orders shipped, numbers of products and prototypes created, number of marketing campaigns, number of content-based publications, number of ideas, delivery KPIs, number of client visits, number of deliveries out, quality KPIs, number of quality reviews, number of mentorships, number of training classes, number of 4-day work weeks, and the cost and profitability. Once again, we're looking at leads. Here are lag KPIs. And a lot of these you'll probably recognize as an operations person: cost and profitability, crowdsourcing partners, shipment costs, fees for disposal of materials, sales revenues, quality KPIs, response time, number of defects, delivery KPIs, incoming receipt time, outgoing delivery time, productivity KPIs, risk and safety KPIs. So you can see a lot of KPIs in the company, but of course, this is a big company. You got a lot of people that need to be tracking what they're doing, and Presto's giving you the possibility to see this from the top down. So now all of these KPIs, way too much stuff to think about at the moment. I'm just interested in taking a look at who's responsible for the implementation of these 3D printers. What annual goals are we supporting, and what KPIs are pushing those annual goals? So at this point in time, what you see here is all the strategic initiatives in the company. And you see BHG, because in this company, they say BHG. In the OKR world, they say big, hairy goals. And one of the big, hairy goals is investing in 3D prototype printing. So now what you see here is every KPI that's linked to 3D printing. You can see they put their own icon in, and now you start to get better understanding of why the KPI is in place and who's it supporting. If I'm interested in seeing which KPIs develop a mentor program. So these are all KPIs that support the mentorship program. And once again, this is great from a personal point of view. This is fantastic, because there are times where I just have one thing on my mind. Say tomorrow, we're just going to be focusing on our product, our new feature launch, which is a strategic initiative for us. Come here and I filter not only my KPI dashboard, but also my project dashboard. And I can see these are all the things that are supporting our strategic initiative. So you're cutting through all the noise, and you're zooming in on one thing at a time. In other words, you're not multitasking when you don't want to be. So a bit of a reminder here, what have we done here? We've taken KPIs and we put them into what we call Presto's three-dimensional perspective. And you can see each KPI is linked to a strategic initiative, it's linked to a balanced scorecard perspective, and it's linked to a key success factor. So taking things even more further now, here's the head of quality. She wants to see all quality, delivery, and productivity KPIs having direct impact on our customers. So let me reset that filter. So here we have putting ourselves in the shoes of the balanced scorecard person. The people that came up with this column here were all customer-oriented people. A lot of them came from sales and marketing, obviously, and a lot of the ideas probably came from the board as well. So in this case, we have customer KPIs, but let's go one step further. You can see we have 8 quality KPIs. We have 6 delivery KPIs. 13 productivity, and let's take cost and profitability. So we'll take a look at those 4. Actually, I think we can look at 5. Yeah. And now you can see there's your customer perspective. Here's your key success factors, your KPI categories. I'll open that up again. And now you can see, once again, you got your KPIs sorted by balanced scorecard perspective. I would like to see all KPIs and set up details where I have been assigned as the consulted party. So here you have all the KPIs in the company. Now we're going to start to go into the details of your KPIs. And when you go to each KPI, we use the RACI matrix to say who is actually responsible for a KPI. In this case, you have anybody in the company. You can say, let's talk about Danny. That's Daniela. She's the head of quality. And she wants to know all KPIs where she's been placed in the RACI matrix. She's been placed as the consulted party. So these are all the KPIs where she's been identified. You open this up. Now what we'll do, we're going to just zoom into one KPI, and you can see how a KPI is set up. So here we're looking at percentage of customer complaints resolved in 3 days or less. So starting over here, here's where you put your scheduler. So in this case here, if I turn this on every Friday, this KPI is going to create a record. Now, if this record could be linked to your ERP, or it could just be linked to a person that needs to go in and either upload a spreadsheet or type in a number. And this is a very useful feature, because what it allows you to do, it allows you to start tracking very vigorously things that probably aren't being tracked in any machines or in any software at all. So you can start tracking people's know-how. You know, how many incidents did you have? How many disagreements did you have with your colleagues today that need to be highlighted, so we can figure out how to avoid them in the future, stuff like that. So here's your scheduler. Here's where you set up your thresholds. And here, to answer Danny's question, here's where you have your ownership matrix. So you have your RACI matrix, and Danny wanted to know every KPI where she's a consulted party, and there she is. So you can see here, if I go to this other one here, there she is again as a consulted party. This one over here, there she is again, consulted party. So very easy now to start saying this KPI here, you know, Eva Karenina, as you can see, she's responsible for it. Her supervisor, Clotilde, is accountable, but If we ever need any if consultation on this or any support, Danny, head of quality, should be watching this. And here's where you see all the activity. So this is a monthly KPI. You can see September 1, October 1, November 2, and you can see all the numbers that were registered. And when you see a black ball, somebody's gone in there, they put comments, and they've identified an issue root cause, and you'll see why that's important in a minute. So this is how you set up KPIs and start monitoring them person by person in the company. So now Danny's saying she set up her own special report just for the cost of poor quality. And what you see now, I'm going to take her filter off by clicking this button here. Here's where you have all your customized reports that you've created or you have access to that somebody else have created. And she created a CPQ, cost of poor quality report. And that's all the KPIs that support cost of poor quality. Now, this report would probably be used in a committee or some type of steering meeting that where the company's tracking quality. A couple more. Overdue and missing KPIs. This is a very important feature right here if you want people to use Presto correctly. So here you have the head of engineering. He wants to know all the KPIs that where somebody hasn't done their job. They haven't given us a number we're looking for, and that can easily be picked up right here. There's 14 KPIs that have pending records. So when you open that up and you drill into each of them, you'll see this KPI up until the 1st of February, there it has a pending record. So I can come in here, I can say, well, where a number of late client deliveries made to Swiss clients this month, there was only 2. And I would put some comments if I wanted to. Now you can see there's the number 2, green, because we're happy. Anything under 3 is green. Anything between 3 and 10 is yellow. Anything over 10 is red. And now you can see if I were to refresh that number 14 should probably become 13, unless there's another pending record in that KPI, but I don't think there is. So you can see immediately, so there still are some pending records in the one I showed you. Here you have the head of sales. I would like to know how we are doing in hitting our targets for growing our social media following. So that's Clotilde. Let's imagine we didn't know where she works. You can come here, just type in her name. There she is, head of sales. She's responsible for 8 teams, 17 people. Let's go take a look at her team. So you got 17 headcount, 83 people. And now we're looking at all her KPIs. She's interested in social media following. Instead of looking at everything, we just go to the search box and type in follow. And you can see immediately we got 2 KPIs. I'm going to click that. And she's interested in knowing how are we doing with hitting our social media targets. So here you have your cumulative report. So this is for the first 2 months of the year. I'm interested in the last 12 months. So you can see number of followers on Instagram. You can see we're going towards the yellow, so we're getting close to our target, but still not there. Number of Facebook followers, you can see our target was 3,000. Here we are at 3,755 for the last 12 months. So very easy to start understanding where your company's going. Now, of course, determining the targets, that's another discussion that you would have, not for today, but that's a very big piece of work that needs to be done. What are the targets that we really want to go for? I'm interested in better understanding where customer service KPIs are trending downward across my division. What are the primary reasons for the downtrend? So if some of you took statistics in university, you'll remember linear regression forecasting. So what we're going to use regression forecasting now to tell us where things are going good, where things are going bad, and then use a Pareto chart to tell us why things are going bad. So in this case here, you can see in Clotilde's team, she has 15 KPIs that are trending downwards. So I'll open that up and I can see response time, customer satisfaction score. And if you zoom into these, here we have percentage of customer complaints resolved in 3 days or less. We want to be at 95%. We need to be above 95%. In fact, we want to be above 99%, and 100% is the green line. But you can see there's our linear regression forecasting line. It's taken us away from the green line towards the red line. Same thing in this situation over here. Actually, let's just look for the last 12 months. So you can see, once again, going away from green towards the red. Away from green towards the red. And now let's talk about why customers are complaining. Here's your Pareto chart. And you can say for the last 12 months, 33% of the complaints are because they're toys were lost in the post, 25% where product was damaged during shipping, 16% incorrect product shipped. So you get your Pareto charts, KPI for KPI. And what you can do if your managers are not satisfied with the numbers, you can tell your team leaders, you can tell your process owners, you're responsible. Please, every time you have a number in here, please go in there, give us a good description, and tell us what the root cause of the problem was, so we can start tracking our Pareto charts in using those in tactical decision-making discussions. Another interesting feature about Presto, here's Samuel. He wants to be able to just keep his finger on the pulse. And what you have here is you have your news feed. So everything you see here are KPIs where you as a user have visibility into the KPI. So basically I logged in as Samuel. So every KPI you see here, Samuel is one of the, is in the RACI matrix. And I'll show you what happens if you go into a KPI. So number of mentorships active, and you can see Samuel's not in here. Let's put him in here. Okay, and we're going to put him as an informed party. And then you come to the threshold and you can say, whenever the KPI is either yellow or red, I want the informed party to get a news feed. I want them to get an update on the news feed. So now you can see Samuel is going to expect to get an update if the result is yellow or red. So now we'll come here. Let's manually put a result in. Let's imagine that on the 23rd of February, the number was 0, which is not what we like. We want to have more than 5 mentorships, probably 5, more than 8 mentorship programs active at a time, and we just put 0. So you got a red there. So now what's going to happen if everything works? If I refresh the screen, as soon as somebody puts a new KPI in or something feeds a KPI, Samuel gets at the top of his news feed, number of mentorships 0 for the 23rd of February. And it allows him to immediately start zooming in to say, hey, wait a second, maybe I should call Clotilde and see if I can give her a hand. Here we go, last but not least. So this is where Presto, in my opinion, becomes a super management tool to start getting people to respect the KPI culture. So, if you start thinking about leads and lags, you start realizing that each layer of management treats KPIs in a different way. And team leaders, of course, they're not thinking about what the board of directors are thinking about. They're thinking about making sure they're doing their job daily, no defects, no accidents, and stuff like that. But most of their KPIs are being tracked on a daily basis, and the majority of them are lead KPIs. So if you think about the daily KPIs, we've created a daily report. Let's go back to the top now. Created a daily KPI report. Here it is. And let's take a look from a cumulative point of view. So this is a very good way to start looking at results. You can see these are my daily KPIs, number of customer complaints. This is the last result, prior result, total for the month, total for the prior month, total for the year, total for the prior year. So this is my daily management report that team leaders are looking at every day to make sure that their lead heavy KPIs are in line with what they want. Let's talk about middle management. You start to see they're still tracking lead KPIs, but their lag KPIs start to become a bit more important. And as you can see here, let's take a look at the bi-weekly, monthly report for middle managers, and you can see still some of the same KPIs we were tracking in the team leaders, but now we're starting to get a bit more financial. We're starting to get a bit more lag heavy. And then when you get to the senior management, monthly KPIs, what are they looking at in that senior meeting? And they're mostly looking at, as you can see, let's filter by leads. There's some leads over there, filter by lags, some lags over there. So it's very easy to start really separating the two and getting them in front of the right people at the right time. And of course, on a quarterly basis, you have the board of directors. They're not really caring about a lot of the stuff we spoke about today. All they really care about in that once a quarter meeting would be crowdsourcing partners, sales revenues, customer satisfaction, number of workplace accidents, number of mentorships, number of employee engagement, and number of training classes. Now, once again, every company treats things differently, but if you take a look at their lead KPIs, there's some, their lag KPIs, there's a lot. So last but not least, I think I'm eating into Jack's schedule now. The last thing I want to show you, how do you engage junior people to get KPIs updated? So here you have junior team leader, and she's saying, my supervisor asked me to update KPIs on a daily basis. How do I do that? And I'm just going to jump now to the actual landing page of Presto. This is when you log into Presto. This is where you land. And if you're a manager, you can go to the dashboard. This is where we came from. But if you're not a manager, you're not going to see this button. But what you will see is a little ticker here that tells you any KPI where you're in the RACI matrix. And what you do, you click on this little button here. Here we're saying we have 7 KPIs that are overdue where you're in the RACI matrix. So here's the KPI, and here's where you can enter a number manually or upload a spreadsheet if it's not linked to your ERP. So we're asking how many number of on-the-job accidents for engineering division. Today, 0. Number of on-the-job accidents for the quality division. Today, 0. Sick days in engineering. There was 1 person sick. Sick days in manufacturing. 3 people sick. So very easy to come here now and start just giving daily feeds from people that just have 5 minutes to close their day, and they're going to tell you and capture for you exactly what you want. And of course, if there's some notes, if there's something you want them to say, flip that to the detailed view. And here's the 3 KPIs that are still open. We just closed 4. And just like we did on the inside of Presto, you come here and you can capture your root causes, put your notes, and do anything else you need to do, adjust your schedulers or anything.